So yesterday we have just recalled a couple of things from the probability theory of probability. So today also we'll continue that one. And mostly today's lecture is also kind of recall, which you have already done during you might have done during your +2. So the very first thing, suppose assume that we are doing a random experiment. And S is the corresponding sample space. Sample space means the set of all possible outcomes. Okay. Then we have few things here. Okay, let us play the sample space and A, comma B are two events. Okay. Two events of the random experiment. Then we have something called axioms of probability. So what is axioms of probability says? The very first thing, 0 is less than or equal to probability of A is less than or equal to 1. For any event, the probability of the event should lies between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. And the second one, the probability of the entire sample space should be equal to 1, exactly equal to 1. So these are the major axioms. Apart from this, we also do have third one, probability of the null event, empty set represents null event, should be equal to 0. These things you have already know. And what is the probability of an event? That definition I'm not going to recall. It is very fundamental one. Okay, I hope all of you remember what is probability of A. So probability of A basically is actually equal to number of favorable chances, number of favorable elementary events upon total number of equally likely elementary events. Okay, so that is a very basic definition. All of you are very familiar with that one. So basically, so I'm not recalling that what is the definition. Now, apart from this, we have certain formulas are also there in the okay. So apart from this, for example, suppose if the events you have chosen A and B are mutually exclusive, then the probability of A intersection B is not A intersection B. A intersection B will be 0, obviously. Probability of A union B is actually equal to 1 minus probability of A plus probability of B. Why? Because we have already, it comes from the formula, the probability of two events, at least one of the events, either A or B, is actually equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. When A and B are mutually exclusive events, then proper A intersection B is 0, and hence it is, A intersection B is empty set, and hence it is 0. So not only this one, this also gives probability of S, which is equal to probability of A union A complement. A complement are always mutually exclusive, and hence this is equal to probability of A plus probability of A complement. But probability of S is always equal to 1. So this rule, this also we have. Some textbooks, instead of writing A complement, they will use the notation A bar. Okay, that depends on the textbooks. And at the same time, we also have, suppose if A is contained in B, then the probability of A is less than or equal to probability of B. So I'm not going to do any exercises based on this fundamental formulas of probability. Instead, I would like to discuss more on about the conditional probability. So that is the actual concept that we required. So what is this conditional probability? For example, probability of A union B means at least one of the event, either A or B, should happen. Probability of A intersection B means both the events must happen. Similarly, we can also give probability of A, but B should not happen. That is probability of A minus B. And similarly, probability of the event B must happen, but A should not happen. So that is probability of B minus A. So all these things we can talk about. And probability of not happening of an event, that is simply probability of A complement. What is the probability of A complement? Probability of A complement is 1 minus probability of A. Okay. Now, what about this conditional probability? What about the conditional probability? Okay. For example, let us see this one, conditional probability, through examples. First thing, rolling a dice. Okay. So obviously, what is the sample space? Sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All are equally likely elementary events. Fine. Now the event A is when you roll a dice. The event A is we must get even number. even number. So that is, in this case, the probability of A is, the probability of the event A happening is, obviously you know it, that is 3 upon 6. That is 1/2. Okay, let it be as it is. Okay. Suppose when this happens, while this event A is happening, or after the event A happens, suppose if I say that whatever the number it came on the upper face of the dice, it is bigger than 3. What? The number what we have obtained, let me say that is probability of B is strictly bigger than 3. It is the information that we have. In this case means once we know that this happened, in this case, what is the probability of A in this case? Generally, what is the probability of B? Probability of B is again 3/6. That is fine. That 3/6, don't see probability of A and probability of B same. You don't see in that direction. Okay. The event A is getting an even number. We have evaluated the probability is 3/6 in general, without any condition, without any additional information. But what I said, the number which appeared on the upper face of the dice is strictly bigger than 3. This information I have given additionally. Now, in this case, under this assumption or under this condition, what is the probability of getting an even number? In this case, can you tell me? Can anyone tell me what is the answer? Yes. It is 2/3 only. Why? Because what we have seen, what we have already informed, the number which appeared on the upper face is strictly bigger than 3, and hence in this case, with this additional information, what is the sample space now will become? The sample space will become actually 4, 5, 6. So these are the possible options now. Out of which what I want an even number. There are 2 chances are there, and hence 2/3. So it is actually not the probability of A directly, but it is the probability of A when it is already known that B has the event B has already happened. Okay. So this is what we call the conditional probability. This is what we call the conditional probability of A when the event B has already happened. Okay. So now let us see another example. Where another example is, suppose we have a bag. Okay, in which there are red colored balls are there. How many are there? Assume that maybe some 10. And another bag. Or maybe what you do, let us take only one bag. Let us take a very simple example. Okay, so in the same bag, what we have, there are red balls are 10 and blue balls are also there. So they are something around 12 and black colored balls are also there. Okay. Some 8 are there. Okay. Now the event A, the experiment is the event A is experiment is pick a ball at random from the bag. Okay. So, and the event A is the ball is black. The event A is the ball is black. So, what is the probability of A here? Obviously, everyone will say 8 upon 30. Am I right? Okay. Now, suppose that B is another event where the ball is not blue. What is this one? B is another event where the ball is not blue. Okay. So we have drawn, we took a ball at random from the bag, and the additional information given to us is the ball is not the blue one. What is the color exactly? It is not mentioned. But what it is mentioned, the ball is not blue. In this case, with this, so additional information means this event has already occurred. This event has already occurred. Now, if I ask what is the probability of A under this additional information, what will be the case? Since it is not blue, these will not be counted as a set of possible outcomes. These 12 balls are removed from the set of all possible outcomes. So now the only possible outcomes are 18, red and black. Out of which, what is the possibility of getting a black? The event A is having 8 upon 8. Okay. So this is the probability of A when another event B has already occurred. So this is what we call the conditional probability of A when the event B has already occurred. Okay. So the probability of an event A when when another event B has already occurred is called conditional probability of A when B occurred. Okay, and it is generally represented with probability of A, that is probability of A when B has already occurred. Okay, so that is the represented notation. Okay, now similarly, we can also talk about probability of an event B when the event A occurs. This is called conditional probability of of B when A occurs. When A occur. Okay. So as you know that I'm not going to evaluate what is the formula for these two. So, but I am going to give you directly what is this probability of conditional probability of A when B occurs. So it is actually given by probability of A intersection B upon probability of B. And also similarly, probability of B when A occurred is given by probability of A intersection B again upon probability of A. Right? So these also these are the formulas to evaluate the conditional probabilities. However, from these we can also have therefore probability of A intersection B is actually equal to probability of B times probability of conditional probability of A when B happened, which is further same as from the second equation we can also get probability of A times conditional probability of B when A happens. Okay, this is generally called the multiplication law of probabilities. Okay, but here in the conditional probabilities, what in the conditional probabilities, the assumption is when the another event occurred, A is B occurred. So we have to assume that probability of B is non-zero. And similarly, in the previous case, when A occurred means we have to assume that probability of A is non-zero. Means whatever additional already the events which are already happened, they should not be null events. Okay. Right. Now, now there is something called independent events. This one also everyone knows. Independent events. So what do you mean by independent events? Two events, A and B, are said to be independent. A and B are two events of a random experiment. Now, when we will say that the events A and B are independent, it is the event A, the probability of happening of the event A does not change even if we know that the probability of B has already occurred. That is to say, the probability of one event means any of them, either A or B. One event does not change or does not affect or does not depend on the occurrence or non-occurrence. Occurrence or non-occurrence of another event. Okay. So in this case, what will happen to the probability of, so that is the conditional probability of A when B already happened will be equal to probability of A itself. Similarly, the conditional probability of the event B when A occurred is same as the probability of B. Means A and B are independent events. They are not depending on the other event B. Okay. So with the help of this one, what we'll have, what we can conclude, we have something using the previous formulas. Using here, suppose here probability of conditional probability of A when B happened is probability of A. So look at this one. It is probability of B and it is probability of A, and hence there it comes the formula probability of A intersection B is probability of A into probability of B. Okay. So when this is happened, then we can say that the events A and B are independent events. Now here, the exercise is for all of you. Let A and B are independent events. Let A and B are independent events. And the first one, prove or disprove A complement, B complement are also independent. The second one, A, B complement are also independent. The third one is, of course, it is same as the second one. It is A complement, B are also independent. So it is an exercise to R. So far, any doubts? It is only just a recall which we have already come across. But anyway, so far, you have any doubts? I hope everyone might have remembered, right? So how to evaluate the probabilities and the probability for the basic problems. Okay. So now we have something called theorem of total probability. Actually, from this concept onwards, the actual content starts for the course. Okay. So what we meant by a total probability means. Suppose, assume that we have a finite number of exhaustive and exclusive events let S be the sample space of a random experiment and B1, B2, B3 and so on, Bn are exhaustive and mutually exclusive events. Exhaustive and mutually exclusive events of the sample space S with none of them are null events. None of them are null events. Okay. Now, that is the assumption, that is the hypothesis. Suppose if A is any event, if A is any event of the sample space S, then the probability of A, this is what we call the total probability of A, is actually equal to sum of I runs from 1 to n probabilities of Bi intersection A, that is nothing but sum of probabilities of I runs from 1 to n. For probabilities of Bi intersection A, we have something called the probability of Bi into the conditional probability of A when Bi had. Okay. So this is what we call the total probability. And what is the total probability means here? The total probability of the event A that can be evaluated with the help of the conditional probabilities. Okay. Suppose if you want to understand it by maybe using some diagrams, what you can do, you can consider this is B1, this is B2, this is B3, this is B4, this is B5, B6, B7, B8. So assume that this is the sample space, yes, and B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8. All of them are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Exclusive means they have no common intersection. Any of the two have no common intersection, and exhaustive means union of all the events will give us the entire sample space. Okay. Now, what is A? A is any event of the S. A is any event of the set S. Maybe suppose assume that this is the event A. Maybe this is the event here. So the probability of this event, the happening of this event A, can be evaluated by. Now, what about this one? What about in this part actually here? It is probability of A intersection B1. Now it is probability of A intersection B2. Now it is probability of A intersection B4, right? And the small one is probability of A intersection B5. This is probability of A intersection B7. Probability of A intersection B8. Probability of A intersection B6. So the entire probability of A can be evaluated by taking the intersection. Probability of Bi intersection A. Why? Because of the fact that we will not miss any of the, this portion from the any of the elementary events for the event A. Why? Because Bi is mutually exclusive and mutually exhaustive, and it will not be repeated also. Okay. So the proof is very easy, not very much tough. For example, since they are mutually exclusive, sorry, exhaustive, we have this one. And Vi intersection Vj is empty for I not equal to j and 1 less than or equal to I comma j less than or equal to n. Okay. Now, if you look at what is going to happen with the events A intersection B1, comma, A intersection B2, comma, and so on, A intersection Bn. What about these events? What about these events? Whether they are also mutually exclusive or not. Mutually exclusive events. Okay. Not only exclusive events, we also have A is equal to A union B1 union, A union B2 union, and so on, A union Bn. Why? Using the associative laws, what we can actually, this entire thing is actually equal to what? This entire thing is actually equal to A unions of all Bi's. But that is yes, but A is a subset of yes. But A union S means no, it is not union. Sorry, don't consider it union. Intersection. Intersection. Okay. So in the intersection, now what about this one? Using the laws of sets. So everything will be equal, the entire thing will be equal to A intersection union of Bx. But union of Bx is yes. So A intersection yes, A is a subset of X, and hence this will be equal to A. Okay. Now from this one, what is the probability of A? Remember, these events are mutually exclusive, and hence we have already seen the formula. It is probability of A union sorry, I have explained it wrongly. First thing is A intersection, these are mutually exclusive. Here A intersection B is right. Here also we should take A intersections only, not the unions. This is intersection, and this is also intersection. But in between, these are the unions. Unions, and unions. Okay. Apply the same thing. Now, these two are linearly mutually exclusive. So when these two are mutually exclusive, probability of probability of M union N is same as probability of M plus probability of N. So we have a finite number of these sets for probability of A intersection B. So that is what we require, right? So that is probability of A is equal to summation I runs from 1 to N, probability of A intersection Bi, using the conditional probabilities, using the multiplication laws of probability, I runs from 1 to N. This is actually equal to probability of Bi intersection, the probability of A when Bi happens. Okay. The only thing is we need to identify that the events A intersection B1, A intersection B2, A intersection Bn, they are also mutually exclusive, and at the same time A can be written as union of all these events. Okay. For example, even in the graph also see here, this is A intersection B1 union, and then A intersection B2 union, A intersection B4, right? A intersection B3 is empty, fine, okay, no problem. And here, this is A intersection B5, and this is A intersection B7, and this is A intersection B8, and finally this one A intersection B6. Okay, so this is what we call the total probability theorem. And the next one also we know it, that is what we call the Bayes theorem. So what about this Bayes theorem? What this Bayes theorem says, it is actually an application of total probability theorem. The assumptions are same here also. That is, if or first let me write the entire statement. Let S be the sample space of a random experiment. B1, B2, and so on, Bn are exhaustive and mutually exclusive events with probability of Bi is non-zero. None of the event is a null. Okay, I is equal to 1, 2, 3, and so on. Yeah. Previously, in the total probability theorem, we have started with if A is any event, but here that is a hypothesis, and this one, if A is any event with probability of A is non-zero, then what will have the probability of the conditional probability of happening of Bk when the event A has already occurred is equal to the probability of Bk times the probability of the conditional probability of A when Bk occurred upon summation I runs from 1 to n probability of Bk times probability of conditional probability of A when the probability Bk occurred. It is not k, and the summation we have used the suffix I, right? So it is I. So that is I here. And it is true for all k is equal to 1, 2, and so on n. So this is what the Bayes theorem says. Let us understand what actually, first let us prove this one. So already we have what is the probability of Bk when the conditional probability of Bk when the event A occurred is equal to probability of Bk intersection A upon probability of A. So because of this reason, in the Bayes theorem, you must assume this one. Probability of A is a non-zero, which is further equal to probability of Bk intersection A has another formula. What is that one? What is that one? That is by multiplication law. Probability of Bk times probability of A when Bk happens. Okay, upon. Now, what is the total probability of A? Probability of A when B1, B2, B3 are mutually exclusive and exhaustive events with the probability of Bi is non-zero. By the total probability theorem, what we have? Probability if A is any event. This is true for any event. So probability of A is given by this formula. That is the summation I runs from 1 to n. Probability of Bi times. So that is summation I runs from 1 to n. Probability of Bi times probability of A, conditional probability of A when the event Bi has already done. Okay, so this is what we call the Bayes theorem, and you have also come across this theorem and you have solved plenty of problems on the Bayes theorem also. But anyway, tomorrow we are going to solve few problems on the total probability theorem and the Bayes theorem. So mostly the problems will be based on the conditional probabilities and the total probability and the Bayes theorem. After that, in the second section, we will go for a new concept that will be a completely new concept which we have not come across in your plus two, called the concept of random variables, which actually is the main application of the probability. Okay. So now, if you have any doubts, today it is mostly theory only. So tomorrow it will be problem, and after one section it is problem, and another section it will be theory again. So do you have any doubts? Any one of you? Any one of you have doubts? I think everyone knows this one, right? Probability of B, total probability theorem and the Bayes theorem. Okay. So that is okay, fine. Now tomorrow our class session starts at 11:30 and continued for 2 sessions, 11:30 and 12:30 also. And the next thing,